Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lucas, VP of Sales at Rose Rocket, and today I'm joined with Matt Schrap, CEO of Harbor Trucking Association. Matt, we're talking today about a couple of things. Tell me, I've heard a lot about bottlenecks on the West Coast. What's causing that?
Well, thanks, Lucas. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. To be honest, pick your bottleneck. So many different things contribute to congestion, inefficiency. You have your normal congestion that exists on the freeways in Southern California, Northern California, Oakland. But then where we really think about some of those bottlenecks is on terminal, on the dock. Whether it's relative to turn times, whether it's container availability, whether it's appointment availability, all different sorts of things are going to contribute to somebody not being able to pull that box off dock. Most of the times, folks look at the trucker directly. It's like, help me fix this. Help me get through this issue. You're closest to the fire, so to speak. You're going to be able to make the best decisions to get me my cargo. But there's so many things out of the trucker's hands, as I mentioned, like appointment availability, cargo availability, general congestion down in the terminals. On average, for several months, we were over 90-minute average turn time just in LA Long Beach alone. So if it takes you an hour and a half just to get a single transaction completed, the likelihood of you getting back to the port to pick up another box is pretty slim. On average, we probably, across the harbor with all of our member companies, we're lucky to do one, if not two moves per day. Of course, there's more opportunities than that, but again, just because of all those bottlenecks, it makes it very difficult sometimes to be efficient.
Has there been any impact from the Key Point Bridge incident on the East Coast? Any freight getting diverted to the west?
We haven't heard of anything so far relative to Baltimore. We're more of, experiencing some of the Red Sea diversion, a little bit of the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal's not experiencing as much container congestion, or the tanker side, you have a land bridge there. So from the Baltimore side, we haven't really seen a tremendous amount of diversion. Plus, it takes a couple weeks for stuff to be rerouted anyways. So at this point, my short answer would be no. At least according to my members, we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, awesome. Any strategies you can share to kind of help mitigate some of these bottlenecks?
Absolutely. I think communication is the most important thing. If you're talking to your trucker, you're talking to the shipper, you're making sure that they're engaged in what exactly is going on at the harbor. The truckers are going to be able to communicate with the terminals, understand some of the challenges that are there, again, with cargo availability. We have a phenomenon, especially in LA Long Beach and in Oakland, for Northwest Seaport Alliance for that matter, as we represent motor carriers up and down the West Coast. Doesn't matter what terminal you're at. Box comes off the ship, lands on the dock, it could be put into a closed area for several days. And so while you're trying to plan out capacity in order to pick up not only that container, but several other containers at the same time, you're trying to be able to dispatch enough drivers to be efficient. So when they say, well, the box is in a closed area, I can't get it, finally they say, okay, it's available, quote unquote. I go in and I try to make an appointment. Well, my appointment's not till the last free day. And so I had, 4 or 5 days of inability to pick up that container leading up to last free day. And now the only appointment I can get is on the second shift or on the night shift at a, let's say undesirable hour for some of our drivers, especially late into the early morning. So it can create some challenges there, right? When they say it's available, it doesn't necessarily mean it's retrievable. And so having that open line of communication, especially understanding either from the line, from the terminal, relative to customs holds, anything that's happening with that box, communicating that back to the drayman, and then having that drayman kind of provide more information to the shipper, broker, whomever about what the actual status of that cargo is. So I think really to help get over the bottlenecks, it's really about communications, because the more we all know, the better we'll all be at the end of the day.
Absolutely. A couple of good strategies there. Anything else you want to share with logistics industry about what to look forward to in 2024?
Sure. I don't know if it's to look forward to, but definitely to keep your eye on. California as being the bleeding edge of progressive policy, of course, with Washington and Oregon not very far behind. So on the West Coast, one thing that we've been dealing with especially is the push for zero-emission transportation solutions in drayage. In other words, battery electric, hydrogen trucks. So a lot of pressure has been put onto the motor carrier community by the regulatory side to look at upgrading that equipment into these, very new, very expensive technologies. things, which is fine. We're all environmentalists deep down inside. The problem becomes is that the cost of entry into this equipment is so high, and then you have reluctance by shippers. While many talk a big game, they aren't necessarily willing to pay the extra premium that it's going to take to get a trucker into that zero emissions equipment, to make sure that there's available fueling, to make sure there's enough support, after sales support structure. So I think those things, again, it goes back to this communication issue, that as all these things are, these harebrained ideas that they're cooking up in Sacramento kind of trickle down to the end user, and especially on the trucking side, we're the closest to it. So again, communication is critical. I think that lends itself to accountability, and at the end of the day, we're all better for it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for your time, Matt. Enjoy the rest of TIA, and really enjoyed chatting.
Thanks, Lucas. Appreciate it.